Hey guys, K420 back at it again, guys. What's up? What's up? What's up? How is everybody? I'm a little hoarse if you can't tell. I don't know if it's from yelling at my lovely cats or if it's from this little cold I've had. But bear with me. Sorry. Nice new microphone, shitty new throat. Happens. Anyway, let's get to work. Rudy Giuliani, yes, I know it's spelled wrong. Licensed to practice law, suspended over comments on the 2020 election. Basically, a 20, 30-year friendship between Giuliani and Trump, as you can see here in these pictures. Hold on. Excuse me. As you can see here in these pictures, is now being held against Giuliani, who used to be known as America's mayor. He obviously, as we all know, was the mayor during 9/11. If you're a New Yorker, as I am, we all know that Giuliani really brought back law and order and saved the business districts of New York City. And he was amazing as mayor compared to who's in that seat right now. And you can tell because the man who carries the seat right now holds a seat where more New Yorkers have flooded it, leaving the state than ever before in history. This ain't helping. All right, let's get to work. Do. Okay, so Giuliani's law license suspended. This is international business times, guys. This is international news. So Giuliani's law license suspended. New York SCOTUS, Supreme Court, declared an immediate threat to the public. Now, just if you don't know, I need you to know one thing before I read any of this to you. Hang on, there I am. I need everybody to know one thing. Andrew Giuliani, Rudy Giuliani's son, I believe it was like 4 days away from the mayoral vote when all this happened. This is like when they were when they were taking Lee Malvo, one of the two sniper killers, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, the snipers, the ones that were shooting out of their trunk. Well, they took Lee Malvo for trial. And at the same time they took him for trial, they had a primetime series event on like every night for like 3 nights in a row. And it was like a lifetime movie of the 23 days of terror of these two shooters, right? But at the same time, Malvo is trying to get a fair trial. Regardless of whether he's guilty or not, he has a right to a fair trial. And the entire United States and beyond's jury pool was tainted by this. And I think it's very similar to that situation in that Andrew Giuliani is running for mayor and had a lot of steam behind him, and they're trying to take out his father. Shut up or get out. You wanna go out? It's just a kitty. Stop. This is why I don't let you in here when I do my videos, woman. Oh, I'm not editing that out either. So, anyhow, I believe it's similar in that effect that he's not getting a fair shot because they're going after his father while he's trying to get this fair shot for mayor. They're not going after him because they don't have anything on him. So what do? We make him, we stain him with his father's taint. And that's what this is. Now I'll read it to you. New York State Court on Thursday suspended Donald Trump's personal lawyer from practicing law. Doesn't that first sentence say something to you? It's almost as if New York Supreme Court and State Court have been literally fingernails in deep in holding on to this power that they've wanted to make sure they show Donald Trump they have. They've already used search warrants and got, personal attorney-client information when they went into Michael Cohen's office, who was also a personal attorney for Trump. They did the same thing. It's as if Donald Trump, as soon as he became president, he lost all his rights to be an American. That's how I feel. And they've never let up since. So, Giuliani, the former mayor of New York City, had this. This is an opinion piece, guys, just so everybody knows. YouTube. I believe this is not new. It's under the politics section, but I believe it's an opinion piece. Had peddled false and misleading comments over a widespread voter fraud on behalf of Trump, who lost, you got to put that in there, who lost the 2020 presidential election. We conclude that there is uncontroverted evidence that respondent communicated demonstrably false and misleading statements to courts, lawmakers, and the public at large in his capacity as lawyer for Donald J. Trump and the Trump campaign in connection with Trump's failed effort. They're just that's all this is. There's no real facts here. This is her opinion of the orange man. Doesn't even really have anything to say of substance that we didn't already know about Rudy Giuliani. Oops. So, anyway, failed effort at re-election in 2020. Read the 33-page New York Supreme Court's appellate division decision. Giuliani, 77, claimed without evidence that voter fraud was prominent in Georgia, citing evidence that the voting machines were rigged. Sorry. Something in my eye. Anyway, we conclude the respondent's conduct immediately threatens the public interest and warrants interim suspension from the practice of law, pending further proceedings, the decision read. In January, voting machine company Dominion Voting Systems sued Giuliani and others for more than $1.3 billion in a defamation lawsuit. Giuliani, who once served as the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, is also under federal investigation for potential violations of foreign lobbying laws related to his work tied to Ukraine. Again, punishing anyone who dare be loyal to Donald J. Trump. This is what you will bear this is the cross you shall bear for publicly supporting Donald Trump. So, Eli Honig, as I just said to Kate Bolden, this is a very big deal and very rare moment for a law license to be suspended. Another moment of shame fully earned by Rudy Giuliani. I don't know anybody who's been suspended from practice like this, but what you cannot do is just lie. You cannot make demonstrably false and dangerous statements. Why? Why can't we? This is the United States of America, where our First Amendment allows us to be foolish, asinine, and hateful if we feel that is what we want to say at that moment, because we have free speech, or we're supposed to. But every day they take a little bit more, and we're letting them by not calling out the bullshit. right here. Giuliani's lawyers, John Leventhal and Barry Kamen, said they are disappointed with the appellate division First Department's decision suspending Mayor Giuliani prior to being afforded a hearing. He hasn't even had it. Hold on. There. He hasn't even had a hearing on these issues yet. They suspended it without even speaking to his lawyers, him, or seeing any exculpatory evidence that he may have to prove himself innocent. Before all this, he had to go out public and have a public law license suspension. Because we all know this is meant to hurt one person and one person only, and that's Donald J. Trump. However, along the way, it will stain his son, Andrew, who running for mayor. I know you talk about my ashy lips, so hang on. Okay. So, this is unprecedented. We believe our client does not pose a present danger to the public. We believe that once the issues are fully explored in a hearing, Mr. Giuliani will be reinstated as a valued member of the legal profession that he has served so well in his many capacities for so many years. According to the court's ruling, Giuliani admitted that some of the statements he made were untrue, but claimed he didn't knowingly make false statements. He failed to prove the source for claims about 800 to 600 or 6,000 dead people he alleged to have voted in. Sorry, my hands are dry. In the Georgia 2020 election. But I don't know if you know, but just recently Georgia came out. A lot of these states are because they've been sued by the Trump campaign or coming out with information that there was shenanigans going on behind the scenes. There is dead people voting. I mean, I don't know if anybody's watched Steven Crowder, but he sent his crew, he got a local Michigan address of registered voters who had voted in the 2020 election, and he went through it and showed how to spot false or suspicious addresses, and he sent his team directly to those addresses live. Many of them were empty parking lots. Some of them were empty warehouse buildings on those parking lots. Some of them were other businesses that had no idea, who the person was that was registering to vote there. Ooh, my voice. I even did some tea. Anyway, this is my wife's fault. She was losing her voice on Tuesday. Look at me now. Yeah. So, where am I? There we go. The country is being torn apart. Hang on. The seriousness of the respondents' uncontroverted misconduct cannot be overstated, the court says. The country is being torn apart by continued attacks of the legitimacy of the 2020 election. You will never convince the 80 million people that voted for Donald Trump in 2020 that Joe Piss Pants Biden had more votes than Barack Hussein Obama did. After this man has ran for president 2 other times and failed horribly. This man was in his basement for 95% of the campaign. Didn't know, and when he did come out to do public things, they were more empty than a Hillary Clinton campaign rally. So you're telling me that my man Trump was bringing in 20, 30, 40,000 people to his rallies, Oh, my cats are in heat. Sorry, guys. I hope my audio is definitely going to pick that up. Hang on. Damn it. I even took them. I even took them outside and wore them out before I did my video. Damn it. Okay. The seriousness. Oh, I already read that part. So, the hallmark of our democracy is predicated on free and fair elections. The hallmark of our democracy is not created, but our hallmark of our democracy is predicated on our ability to speak freely and criticize those who we feel are not being truthful. I'm not reading that off the page. That's out of my mouth. Court also found Giuliani to continue to make false statements since the application for his suspension of his license. Someone put in an application to suspend his license. That's going to have to get a little deeper into that. But let's take a look at the affidavit. Okay. Okie dokie. Come on. There we go. Sorry, guys. Takes a second. Oh, shoot. Let me do it there. Okay. Sorry, guys. 1 second. I forgot I had to import it to DocHub. That's all. I mean, I could have just left it as an open PDF, but I'd rather be up that way if I want to highlight something or whatever I can. Okay. Matter of Giuliani 2021. Case -00506-PC PDF. Supreme Court of the State of New York. Appellate Division. I don't know where my camera is, but I guess someone will let me have it on here, huh? Some pages don't allow the camera to be on, so it's okay. I don't want it in my way if I can help it. So let's see here. Disciplinary proceedings. Okay, these are disciplinary proceedings instituted by the Attorney Grievance Committee for the First Judicial Department. The respondent was admitted to the bar of the state of New York at a term of the Appellate Division of the Supreme Court for the Second Judicial Department on June 25th, 1969. Okay. In the matter of Rudolph Giuliani, W. Giuliani, an attorney, per curiam. The Attorney Grievances Committee moves, so that must be, okay, I just said first and foremost, somebody put an application in with the Grievance Committee to suspend his license for disciplinary reasons. That someone was on the Grievance Committee apparently, because it says the Attorney Grievance Committee moves for an order pursuant to, and it names the law, rules for attorney disciplinaries, 22 New York CRR 1240.9A5, immediately suspending respondent from the practice of law based upon claimed violation of rules, and it names them all off, and the rules of professional conduct, rules of conduct, or RPC. Respondent was admitted as a practice of attorney and counselor of law at New York State. Sorry, I messed up. At the State of New York on June 25th, 1969, under the name Rudolph William Giuliani. He maintains a law office within the First Judicial Department. For the reasons that we follow, we conclude there's uncontroverted evidence that the respondent communicated demonstrably false. This is where the news keeps getting this line. Demonstrably false and misleading statements to, uh-oh. I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, demonstrably false and misleading statements to the lawmakers and public at large in his capacity as a lawyer for former President Donald J. Trump and the Trump campaign in connection with Trump's failed effort. Again, another thing they keep putting in their news article is at re-election. These false statements were made to bolster the respondents' narrative that due to widespread voter fraud, the victory in the 2020 U.S. presidential election was stolen from his client. We conclude that the respondent's conduct immediately threatens the public interest and warrants interim suspension from practicing law, pending further proceedings from the grievance committee, sometimes AGC or committee. The nature of this proceeding during the course of the ongoing investigation into numerous complaints of the respondents, I wonder how many numerous are and how many of them are from deep state departments and actors. Okay. I'm going to kind of skip around here because we've really kind of went over why these are all basically, again, why they're doing this. Okay. Complaint, acting responsible, are charged with investigating misconduct. There's some people on this committee are charged with investigating misconduct through various means, including interviewing witnesses, directing the attorney under investigation to submit written responses, or appear for a formal interview. Nikki, my wife, I'm going to kill you. My throat hurts so bad. It's 3 videos to do today. Once the investigation is complete, the committee may commence a formal proceeding in which the attorney has the right to be heard. So basically, until the committee commences a formal proceeding, then Giuliani will be called in and have a hearing and face whatever. So, skip around a little bit here. Here are some claims of misconduct. A lawyer shall not knowingly make false statement, fact, or law to a tribunal, and then it says, in course of representing a client, a lawyer shall not knowingly make false statement of fact or law to a third person. A lawyer or law firm shall not engage in conduct involving dishonesty, fraud, deceit, or misrepresentation. Engage in any other conduct that adversely reflects on the lawyer's fitness as a lawyer. And it goes on. Preliminary issues. The respondent raises an overarching argument. This is Giuliani. Giuliani is raising an overarching argument that the committee's investigation into his conduct violates his First Amendment right of free speech. Thank you. I've been saying this since the beginning of this video, 13 minutes ago. Free speech. Does that man not have the same right as you or I to speak his mind? He does not attack the constitutionality of the particular disciplinary rules. He seemingly claims that they're just unconstitutional as applied to it. And that's right. They're taking these rules and applying it unconstitutionally, so therefore removing his constitutional right to free speech. We reject the respondent's argument that this disciplinary proceeding concerns the professional restrictions imposed on a respondent as an attorney to knowingly misrepresent facts and false statements in connection with representation of his client. It is long recognized. Listen, it is long recognized that speech by an attorney is subject. Hang on. I hate this because Doc Hub always. Speech by an attorney is I'm not doing this no more. Fuck it. Speech by an attorney is subject to greater regulation than speech by others. So that's what they're using against it. We expect more out of you because you're an attorney. Therefore, your free speech is on the line every time you represent a client. He says, unlike lay persons, an attorney is a professionally trained is a professional trained in the art of persuasion. And it lists ORAC for, excuse me, thank you guys for bearing with me today. I'm so sorry. ORAC versus Ohio State Bar Association. As officers of the court, attorneys are an intimate and trusted essential part of the machinery of justice. Let's keep going. I'm gonna just kind of go through because this just is all how he violated the rules by making misleading statements. It just repeats it over and over and over and over again. It really has nothing other fruit. It just keeps listing the rules as a reason for why he broke that rule. Or they just keep listing. Excuse me. They just keep saying his free speech doesn't matter when it comes to breaking that rule. Here we go. Instances of attorney misconduct. In making this motion, the AGC primarily relies on claims that a respondent made false and misleading factual statements to cast doubt on the reliability of the results of the 2020 election in which Joe R. Biden was constitutionally certified. I swear to God, the White House had to literally do an edit check of this Supreme Court finding of whatever this is. It's basically the whole matter. I swear to you, the way they word things in here, it was as if Joe Biden himself was like, "Hey, why don't you put this little part right here, so that everybody knows I constitutionally certified, and then inaugurated as the 46th president of the United States." Damn. There we go. All right. We find the following false statements made by the respondent constitute uncontroverted proof of this respondent's professional misconduct. Oops. Here we go. Damn it. Right here. Respondent doesn't. I'm gonna go talk about his YouTube, basically his podcast slash YouTube page, but we'll get to that in a minute. Right here. In making this motion, the HR, I read that part, right? Respondents made misleading factual statements to cast doubt. Yeah, we went through all that. So it says the respondent repeatedly stated the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania more absentee ballots came in during the election than were sent out before the election. The factual proof he claimed supported his conclusion was that although Pennsylvania had only sent out 1.823 million absentee ballots before the election, 2.589 million absentee ballots were then counted in the election. This factual statement regarding the number of ballots mailed out before the election was simply untrue. The true facts are 3.08 million absentee ballots were mailed out before the general election, which more than accounted for the over 2.5 million mail-ins that were actually tallied. Notwithstanding the true facts, respondents repeatedly advanced false statements that there were 600,000 to 700,000 fabricated mail-in ballots which were never sent to voters in advance of the election. Respondents made these false claims during a November 8, 2020 radio program called Uncovering the Truth with Rudy Giuliani and Dr. Maria Ryan. And it goes on to say some things about a December 2020 broadcast of the radio show Chat with the Mayor, and then on Steve Bannon's War Room Pandemic podcast on December 24th. They're just listing the times that he repeated that statement on different shows. Respondent does not deny that his factual statement, 1.8 million mail-in ballots were requested, was untrue. His defense is he did not make this misstatement knowingly. He said a respondent claims he relied on an unidentified member of his team who inadvertently took the information from the Pennsylvania website, which had the information mistakenly listed, Giuliani Affidavit 49. There is simply no proof, because that means, when you see that right there, guys, that means they put Giuliani's team, put in the receipt and said, oh, but wait a minute. Your website's the one that gave us the 1.8 million number. We didn't just lie and come up with it to try to hurt people. Your website listed it. And they showed the website in this little affidavit and showed where it was listed, where it said 1.832 whatever million. So Giuliani relied on information that was the same information being fed to the public. Um, for instance, there is no affidavit from the supposed team member who is not identified by name or otherwise. Of course not. There's simply no proof to support this explanation. See, he doesn't have to. He has. Wow, I don't want to lose my mind. Why does he? What happened to innocent until proven guilty? You don't have to prove yourself innocent before. Like, you don't have to come out and over. If you've done nothing wrong, your acts will speak for themselves. That's what I'm trying to say. Uh-oh. Right here. Oh, Evan David. All right. Okay, there we go. Above identified misstatements violate the rules of professional conduct. So then on November 17th, 2020, respondent appeared as the attorney for plaintiff on the matter captioned Donald J. Trump for President Inc. versus Bukovar in the United States District Court for the Middle District of Pennsylvania. He was admitted pro hac vici based on his New York law license. Respondent repeatedly represented to the court that his client, the plaintiff, was pursuing a fraud claim when indisputably it was not. The respondent's client had filed an amended complaint before the November 17th appearance, in which the only remaining claim asserted was an equal protection claim not based on fraud at all. The claim concerned the experience of two voters having their mail-in ballots rejected and challenged the notice and cure practices concerning mail-in ballots in different counties. The plaintiff's original complaint included claims about canvassing practices. The plaintiff, however, voluntarily withdrew those claims when it served the amended complaint. Notwithstanding, the respondent insisted on extensively arguing a fraud case based on the withdrawn canvassing claims. Oh my God, they just literally scraped the bottom of the barrel so effing hard to make this statement that they made by removing his law license. That's what this is. This is a statement. All right. Well, I don't want. We're halfway through. There's 33 pages, so let's get going so I can get you guys out of here. So the court. So it's correct to say that you're not alleging fraud in the amended complaint. Respondent. No, Your Honor, it is not, because we incorporate by reference in 150 all of the allegations that preceded, which include a long explanation of fraudulent process and a planned fraudulent process. The court. So you are alleging fraud. Respondent. Yes, Your Honor. Later in the transcript, the court pointed out to the amended complaint following further court inquiries and responses occurred. The court. So the amended complaint. Does the amended complaint plead fraud with particularity? No, Your Honor, the respondent says. It does not plead fraud. It pleads the blank pleads the plan or scheme that we lay out in 132 to 149 without characterizing it, without saying it's fraud. They described everything we said and everything they did that was fraudulent. They just didn't call it fraud. The proceedings were opened by phone line to as many as 8,000 journalists and the other members of the public. At the outset of the argument, it was reported at least 3,700 people had already dialed in. It considered false and misleading statement under the rules, or it is considered a false and misleading statement under the rules of professional conduct to misrepresent the status of a pending procedure, whether in or out of court. Rose, go away. Hold on. Go. You come on. If you start meowing, I'm gonna put you back out. No meowing. She's terrible. I swear, guys. I've got two cats in heat at the same time. They're scheduled to be spayed on July 13th, and I have a male cat that's not fixed. It's an indoor-outdoor cat, and I've had him for 2 years, 2.5 years, but I've had the kittens now for a little over a year, and the girls are a handful. And I have to keep them all separate all the time because once they became sexually mature, they put themselves in and out of heat weekly. It's been a nightmare. A nightmare. I got girl cats because I thought that they were actually the easier of the cat genders. How wrong I was. How wrong. How wrong I was. So let me just kind of scroll down through here and see what else we got going on. I don't want to miss anything, but I also don't want to spend all day reading the repeated bullshit that they're trying to say because it's not that it's bullshit. It's just they're nitpicking to try to have a reason to take his license and only again to punish in the long run Donald J. Trump for him being loyal to Donald Trump. All right, let's see here. Just squeezing through, making sure I got it. The above identified. Okay, they were made before a tribunal. Respondent repeatedly stated dead people voted in a Philadelphia order in order to discredit the results of the vote in that city. He quantified the amount of dead people who voted at various times at 8,021, while also reporting the number as 30,000. As the anecdotal poster child to prove this point, he repeatedly stated the famous heavyweight boxer Joe Frazier continued to vote years after he was dead and stated on November 7th, he's still voting here. The public records submitted on this motion unequivocally show the respondent's statement is false. Public records show Pennsylvania formally canceled Mr. Frazier's eligibility to vote on February 8th, 2012, 3 months after he died. As for respondent's argument that his misstatements were unknowing, blah blah blah. How about that? Blah blah blah. I'm tired of it. It's the same thing. Misstatements, they're free speech. I want to get down to the bottom where the court makes its ruling. Okay. It is ordered that I'm not reading that whole. There's a big long statement of why we have to take this serious because it's basically dividing the public and leaving Joe Biden out, basically out there as a. It doesn't matter because nothing you say is going to change those people's mind. forgot my male cat was in here. Sorry. Go outside, Harley. Hold on, let me pause it. I don't have my thing. I don't have access to my pause button because I hit it. Let me see if I come here and if my stuff comes up. La 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 la, and then I can pause it. Oh, there it is. Pause. All right, guys. Cat's taken care of. Back to business. I'm not gonna go back to the ruling because to me it's nothing more than a repeated statement of your free speech is no longer free. New York, former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani had his license suspended. We know that now. Since a disciplinary panel found Giuliani, who stood for as President Donald Trump's personal attorney, made false statements. So what? Okay. And listen, check it out. Rudy Giuliani weighs in on the New York City mayoral race with 4 days left. They did a whole article about him, about him having interfered with the election process by weighing in on the New York. He's an ex-mayor. An ex-mayor. The media asked an ex-mayor what he thought of the ones running for mayor in the 2020 election. 2021 election, sorry. And obviously Andrew Giuliani is one of those people. There is. And I guess therefore they want immediately, but he's not allowed to speak. He's not allowed, even though he's an ex-mayor who became America's mayor during 9/11. All right, so we read the court's decision. Here's his son. Let's see what it says.
Hi, my fellow Americans. Today it's my fellow Americans, not just my fellow New Yorkers. As you may have heard recently, a few minutes ago, my father's law license was suspended by the New York State First Appellate Division of the Supreme Court. Now, the 5 judges that ruled on it, Judge Rolanda Acosta, Judge Diane Renwick, Judge Sally Daniels, Judge Judith Gishi, and Judge Barbara Kaepernick. All 5 of them are Democrats, 3 of which were appointed by Andrew Cuomo. 5-0, ultimately. Democrats with 0 Republicans on there. Again, this is just unbelievable to see just how politicized all of this has become. I am infuriated by all of this, and any American that believes in an independent justice system, this is going after one of President Trump's closest allies. That's exactly what this is. And any American that doesn't believe that, they are just biased. This is unacceptable, and I stand by my father. He did everything ultimately by the book, and the fact that there would be this politicization in our Justice Department is disgusting. It is a cancer that needs to be cut out, and it needs to be cut out right now. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned. I'll have more statements later in the day.
All right, guys. That was his son, Andrew. He's recently announced he's running for... Oh, it's not mayor. Okay, his son's running for governor. I'm so sorry. I thought his son was running for mayor. His son is running for governor. So why was it a bad thing that Giuliani spoke on the mayoral race if his son's not even in there? Oh my God, they just want to attack this man because he stayed loyal to Trump through that whole nightmare of the 4 years that they basically, clawed their fucking nails in and held on to a presidency because the Democrats did everything they could to try to destroy it. It says that New York congressman, after this January 6th siege, New York Congressman Mondaire Jones and other lawmakers called for Giuliani to be disbarred. So we must make an example of him. Why? Because when we see you take his free speech away, we'll let you take ours just as quickly? No, not happening that way. This will not be normalized. This will not be the precedent. Okay, well, guys, thanks for coming to hang out with me for the day. I appreciate it. And I got 2 more videos to put out. Not nearly as long as this. Have a great day, guys. Appreciate it.